So I usually don't do videos like this. This is going to be like more of an informational video. And the topic of this video is mouse and keyboard cheating on console. I posted 2 videos on this, so I think my opinion is pretty much clear. I'm for the side that it is cheating. I believe that if a person is using mouse and keyboard on console, that they are just doing it to get an advantage over controller players, and they want to be more precise with their aim and their movement. Now, I understand that there's some people that have accessibility issues where they can't use a controller and it's hard to do with like their hands or something like that. So they get the mouse and keyboard because it might be easier. I feel like that is perfectly fine that they can do that. If they have accessibility problems, then it's okay. But I feel like if you don't have anything wrong with you, or you don't have anything holding you back from using a controller, I feel like you should use a controller. And if you're using that mouse and keyboard for none other reason for accessibility, then I think you are cheating. Now in this video, I'm going to be pulling up facts from Ubisoft and facts from other streamers, pro league players, and just a couple big names in the Siege community. So what I have pulled up right here is the official Ubisoft website. This is their terms and services and their code of conduct for Rainbow Six Siege, and it kind of just shows their code of conduct right here, and then their forbidden conduct. Forbidden conduct is kind of what we're looking at right here. So I have highlighted right here use of macros, and macros is just kind of a little bit different thing that is cheating on console, and it's pretty big on console. It's a recoil pack basically, and it kind of basically helps kids that, you know, don't like managing the recoil to make it to where they have no recoil at all, and it makes it really easy to shoot a gun. So moving on to the big thing of forbidden conduct is the use of third-party hacking, cheating, or botting clients. So the biggest thing right there, and a lot of what you're going to be hearing in this video, is third-party. So what that means, third-party hacking, is you are using something from not the game or something out of the party, so third-party, to pull in and use on the game to cheat. So if you're looking at a PS4 or an Xbox One, you can actually hook up on certain games a mouse and keyboard. And when you do that, you can play games like Fortnite and stuff like that. Games that are compatible and that have approval from the game developers to use a mouse and keyboard on a PlayStation or an Xbox One. Rainbow Six Siege, though, they do not let Sony or Microsoft. So third-party hacking is a big thing right here that you're going to be seeing a lot. So a lot of kids will say that using a ZIM 4, which is a big adapter for mouse and keyboard on console, kids will say that it is not a third-party hacking device. It's not a third-party adapter. It is its own little thing. That is the pure definition. A ZIM 4 mouse and keyboard adapter is the definition of third-party hacking. And even to prove right here, I actually type in third-party devices Rainbow Six Siege console and to see what comes up. And right when you pull it up, you kind of see it. Even a thing from Ubisoft formally saying that mouse and keyboard is not allowed and the rise of third adapters is a problem and an unauthorized controller for their console. It's emulating controller, and it's just undetectable by those games, which kind of makes it Sony and Microsoft's fault because they can't pick up if it's a controller or not. So that's kind of their fault. But as you can see, once I scroll down a little bit, the first thing up on the third-party device is literally a thing on Amazon for a keyboard and mouse adapter for PlayStation 4 and Xbox One. And the worst part about this, if I go to shopping, it pulls up the exact same thing that I'm looking for. If I put third-party device, it will show me a ZIM 4 or just another cheap device to use. Now, I think the worst part about these adapters or the third-party devices is that the price. So as you can see, you can get a nice one for $130, and a lot of people will say the reason why they use mouse and keyboard on console is because they do not want to pay for a PC. Now, I understand that a lot of people don't want to pay for a PC. Like my PC, I got on Black Friday like 2 years ago for a really cheap price of $800, and I built it and got it for really cheap. And it's a good PC for the price. But if you think about it, they're buying a PS4. So PS4, you know, a year ago, 2 years ago, and now I think it's $400 or $500 when it first came out. That's $500 right there. For a keyboard and mouse, you can get a nice keyboard and mouse for $30. You know, the ZIM, you want a nice ZIM 4, that's another $100. You buy all this stuff for that to use mouse and keyboard on console for games like this, and you're spending, you know, pretty much the same price for a cheap PC that's gonna be able to play Rainbow Six Siege. And a lot of people don't realize that. You know, they think that's their main point right there for saying that. And trust me, I have my PC and I can play Rainbow Six Siege perfectly fine on it. And it's not the best PC. It is literally, I use it just for, you know, school and editing my videos. It's not a gaming PC, but it runs Rainbow Six Siege perfectly fine. So usually the conversations I get in with someone that's using mouse and keyboard, when I point out all the facts that a ZIM or an adapter is a third-party thing and that they are cheating, and they kind of tell me that I'm bad and I'm just playing on controller, you know, they usually kind of get pissed off. And usually their next thing is, no one cares that I'm using mouse and keyboard. You're just sweaty and you're a tryhard. My biggest thing with that is, if you are cheating and you're buying all this extra equipment to put onto your PlayStation 4 because you want to be better and be good at a game, aren't you the sweaty tryhard? And another thing is, I usually just kind of tell them that they're bad and that they need to cheat to be good at a game, which is very sad and just ruins the fun for a lot of people, because it does. So once I pull out all the facts and that's cheating and it's from Ubisoft and all this, and that Zim is a third party, usually once they run out of that and then I call them cheaters and they get mad, they usually come out and say, well, why do you care? Because no one else cares. Like, no pro players care. No big Rainbow Six Siege content creators care. So why do you? Well, they kind of do.
What is up, guys? I'm Get Flanked, and if you are playing Rainbow Six Siege with mouse and keyboard on console, you are cheating. The only exception is if you are disabled and cannot play this game with a controller, and the only way you can play it is with a mouse and keyboard, go for it. Anybody else who's using a mouse and keyboard on console to play Rainbow Six Siege is cheating. And that is the bottom line. And what brought this one on is I've spent the last week or so playing on PS4, had a great time doing it. But while I'm streaming on PS4, I had so many people come into my stream, and whenever I would potato, whenever I talk about how my aim's rusty, they just say, well, why aren't you just use mouse and keyboard? And they're being genuine. They're being honest. There's a lot of people who honestly see nothing wrong with using mouse and keyboard on console.
Another one.
Before I say anything else, I do not condone mouse and keyboard on console until Rainbow lets everybody on console use a mouse and key. As of right now, you have to get a third-party adapter to use a mouse and keyboard on console, which is against Ubisoft's terms of service. Meaning, using a mouse and keyboard on console is cheating. Big no-no in my book.
Another one.
Hey guys, my name is Mitsumiyo, and lately I've been hearing that mouse and keyboard is becoming a serious issue on console, and it's giving players an unfair advantage. Especially at higher ranks, if you want to be competitive, a lot of people feel like it's almost getting to the point where it's required to use a mouse and keyboard to actually do well and rise through the ranks. And so what I wanted to do today is talk about what this actually is it giving players an unfair advantage, is this cheating, and what can Ubisoft and other game developers do about this and hopefully resolve the issue. And so first of all, I think a lot of people are under the misconception that you can just simply plug in a mouse and keyboard into your console and you'll be good to go and you'll have the precision of a mouse. And while Microsoft, I believe, has added in support for some games, you have to have the game developer actually write off on it. They have to agree that their game is actually going to support that functionality. And so for something like Rainbow Six Siege, that's not actually the case. You can plug in this hardware, but it's not going to do anything. Where it really comes into play is with third-party hardware, like the Zim, for example. The Zim in particular, the way that it works is that essentially you're using mouse and keyboard, but the console itself thinks you're using a controller because essentially you are using a controller.
Now, I easily could have did, another one, no. But I seriously could have put anything. Those were the first three that popped up. I could have put in a video of Jaeger himself, King George. He plays on PC and console, and his opinion on it is that keyboard and mouse on console is cheating. My biggest thing is that I play this game for fun with my friends, and when we run into that, we play in high plat, mid plat, and we run into it about every night we play. And just when you get railed because those kids are god tier on mouse and keyboard and they have better aim when you're using analog sticks, is just demoralizing. So my biggest thing is I hope Ubisoft can come up with more of like a battle eye like they do on PC, where you can ban and they look at it kind of like they do on PC, so kids can start getting banned for this. And I also know that this isn't just Ubisoft's fault. This is more of Sony's fault and Microsoft, because like I said, the emulators or the adapters or the third parties, they pick it up from the console. So the console reads it as a controller, but it's keyboard and mouse. So I feel like that's something that Sony and Microsoft can do on the future. But the only thing that kind of makes me sad is that this has been going on for years now, and they still haven't done anything for it. So I feel like they're just kind of, not going to do anything with it. But, a man can dream, right? I can dream. Please tell me I can dream.